In today's video, I discuss how I fix all of my severe digestive issues and regain my health. Now, for many of you who have been around on my channel for a while, you'll be aware that in 2013, my digestion and health fell apart due to an antibiotic reaction. For those of you who don't know, here is the 30-second version. So I went to my doctor in 2013 and was wrongly prescribed an antibiotic. Towards the end of the course of the antibiotic, I developed around 20 severe symptoms, ranging from irregular heartbeats, brain fog, chronic fatigue, joint problems, skin issues, and debilitating digestive issues, which resulted in such bad food sensitivities that I could only tolerate around 3 foods for 2.5 years. I tried multiple times to get help from many different doctors here in the UK, and I just kept on running into brick walls, with none of them being able to help me. It was a case of taking matters into my own hands or being bedbound for months on end. My health was in the gutter, and any time I tried to introduce any new food, the consequences were severe. Hours of cramping, tension headaches, bloating, you name it, I had it. So how did I go from this to where I am today? Well, we need to go back to 2013 so I can talk you through all of the mistakes that I made so you can see what really made the differences, and also so you can see the main things that you should avoid doing if you want to regain your health. My wrong turns cost me so much money and kept me ill for longer than I needed to be. So if you have digestive or health issues, I want you to avoid these pitfalls. So the first thing that I did, and the first mistake that I made after getting no help from my doctors, was to randomly start working with numerous different dietitians, nutritionists and naturopaths without any type of strategy. This was before I knew anything about nutrition, and I was particularly vulnerable to listening to lots of garbage information. Apparently, these practitioners knew my health issues precisely without ever carrying out a single health test. I was told I had everything from Lyme disease to candida overgrowth and even parasite infections, and to combat all of this I was sold every type of supplement you can think of. None of which worked, and all of which made my health much worse. And the worst thing about all of this is that I was paying these people to make me feel lousy. Even after I finished working with a practitioner, I would spend many weeks or months trying to get my body back on some type of even keel due to all of the different supplements and poor advice that I was given. So my first piece of advice is to never listen to any practitioner or anyone on the internet about your health unless their hypotheses are backed up by testing, and certainly never by supplements from any practitioner. A practitioner will always stand in muddy water when they tell you, I know exactly what is wrong with you, and you just need to spend a few £100s a month or so on supplements with me to get your health back. This is 100% unethical, and you shouldn't fall for it. I have never sold a supplement in my life and never would, even regardless of the financial incentives. Think about it this way, a nutritionist may have hundreds of people on their books at any one time. How much money do you think they are making by selling each of these people hundreds of pounds of supplements monthly at high profit levels? And how can they totally have your interests at heart when they benefit from your poor health? When you have poor health, you are 100% susceptible to hearing things that you want to believe are true that more often than not have no factual basis. So the first thing that I did to start getting everything moving in the right direction was to begin researching. In poor health, don't pass over control of your health to anyone. And by research, I mean actual research, not Fruit Loops on the internet telling you that you need to juice, cleanse, or drink urine to regain your health. So after my antibiotic reaction, I did some research on PubMed on the antibiotic that I took, which is doxycycline, and found that there were a number of suicides connected to this. And when autopsies were carried out on many of these people, it was identified that they had problems with their cytochrome P450 enzymes. Long story short, in your liver, you have P450 enzymes to help remove toxins and help with your detoxification pathways. So if you have low levels of these enzymes, then the toxins won't get removed from the body at a normal rate when you take things like medications. These toxins can then start building up and making you much more susceptible to adverse reactions. Hundreds of thousands of people in America and Europe die annually from drug reactions. And for many of these people, it is resultant from problems with their cytochrome P450 enzymes. So armed with all of this information, I reached out to one of the world's leading pharmacogenetics authorities and did some genetic testing to see if I was predisposed to the antibiotic reaction. These test results came back and showed that I did indeed have issues with certain P450 enzymes, and this was the starting point for me getting my health back on track. Now, it didn't tell me why my health was so bad years after stopping the antibiotic, but it at least did give me a reference point. After this, I began researching the best forms of testing available based on my symptoms and came across the SIBO, organic acids and comprehensive stool tests. They would give me a very granular understanding of what was happening in my body at that moment in time. I took the SIBO test, which showed that I had an overgrowth problem in my small intestines. This simply meant that whenever I ate any carbohydrates or fibre, they would be heavily fermented by the overgrowth of bacteria in my small intestines and release very large amounts of gas, causing severe bloating and cramping. Despite what many carnitards will try and tell you, the answer here was not to remove all fruits and vegetables from my diet, it was simply to remove the bacteria causing the problems. Now, before I go into the other test, I want to point out the change that I've seen in healthcare organisations since I personally took the test. When I took the test, it was non-existent in mainstream medicine. Doctors would have laughed at you if you would have asked for them to carry out a breath test, and many of my doctors basically did that. For the last 5 years or so, I have strongly advocated on YouTube the use of breath testing for people with IBS related symptoms, and we are now starting to see mainstream medicine catch up. This is what the National Health Service now says in the UK. An estimated 13 million people in the UK suffer from irritable bowel syndrome or IBS, a digestive problem that can have a profound impact on quality of life. It is further estimated that as many as 80% of these, up to 10.8 million patients, have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or SIBO, and that even larger number of people in the UK suffer from food intolerances. So if you're experiencing gas and bloating and IBS related symptoms, I believe that your first port of call should absolutely be a SIBO test and also a comprehensive stool test. This is because 80+% of people with these symptoms have a very good chance of getting rid of all of their symptoms and issues and getting their health back on track by simply removing the bacteria which is causing their issues. The stool and SIBO test will help you identify what is driving your issues, and this is unfortunately not something you can guess your way through because you need to understand what type of SIBO that you have and the severity of the problem so that you can take the necessary treatment route. Now, as I said, I did the SIBO, organic acids and comprehensive stool tests. I'm not going to go through the ins and outs of everything I discovered in these tests because this is irrelevant to you. The importance of these and other tests is that they can help you identify potentially what is driving your issues so that you can start reverse engineering them. And your test results will be unique to you. So once I had my test results in hand and could see what was wrong, it was a case of working with a suitably qualified and experienced practitioner and start fixing these issues. So for me, this started by removing the SIBO infection with the necessary supplements. For many of you out there, you could follow this same route. Equally, for many of you out there, you may need antibiotics such as rifaximin to fix your issues if they're particularly severe. Now, I can already hear many in the comments section saying, why are you not telling us the supplements and also the doses? And if you are thinking this way, then you are missing the whole point of this video. So if you currently have SIBO, then your drivers will likely be different from the ones that I had, and simply throwing supplements down your neck are unlikely to help you and may make things much worse. You need to identify your problems via testing and then fix your own unique issues. So I went systematically through all of my problems one by one and addressed them correctly. I didn't go carnivore, keto or cleanse or assume it was candida or parasites or mucosal plaques or whatever these crazy kids today are talking about. Don't get sucked into any of this garbage. Test and fix your problems, obviously where this is possible to do so. Once I started working on my issues, I saw improvements fairly quickly. If I had taken this strategy from day one, I would have taken so much time off of my recovery. I went from severe health and digestive issues to today where I'm happier than ever with my progress and where I came from. We have just entered a new year, so if you are having digestive issues and health problems, deal with them correctly and don't let them drag into 2024 and beyond. And work with someone who knows what they are doing and can help guide you through the process. This is absolutely not a sales pitch from me. Work with people in your area. But just make sure you work with someone who can help you identify your own unique problems and help you fix these problems systematically. Don't fall for all the internet guff. You only have one life, so don't waste years like I did trying to guess your way through these issues. Anyhow, that's the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to check out this one up here because I'm sure you'll find it equally interesting. And the only other thing that's left for me to say is to remember to look after your body because it's the only place you have to live. And I'll see you next time.